3 workers on the left. 3 jobs on the right. Every worker takes exactly 1 job, and every job goes to exactly 1 worker. A solution is just a way of pairing them up. Change who does what, and the total bill changes with it. So which pairing is cheapest? Try to answer that by listing every possibility, and you walk straight into a wall. 3 workers give 6 arrangements. 5 give 120. 10 give over 3 million. And 20 workers give more than 2 billion. Checking them one by one is hopeless. And yet there is a method that finds the best pairing exactly, using nothing more complicated than subtraction. Let's build it from scratch. All the information lives in one table. Rows are the workers, columns are the jobs, and each entry is the cost of that worker doing that job. Worker 1 on job 2 costs 2. Worker 3 on job 3 costs 6. 9 numbers, and 9 possible pairings to price. Choosing an assignment means picking exactly 1 number from every row, and never twice from the same column. Here's the lazy choice. Worker 1 takes job 1, worker 2 takes job 2, worker 3 takes job 3. Add those 3 numbers and the bill is 13. 13. Is that good? Nothing in the table tells you. That's exactly the discomfort the Hungarian method removes. To reason about this properly, we need it as a mathematical model. Introduce a switch for every cell of the table. Xij equals 1 if worker I takes job j, and 0 otherwise. So a whole solution is a grid of 1s and 0s, with exactly 1 switch on in every row and every column. Now the goal is easy to state. Minimize the total cost, the sum of every cost times its switch. The 2 constraints are just the rules of the game written in symbols. Each row of switches adds to 1. Each column of switches adds to 1. And the switches are binary. That last line looks like trouble, because integer problems are usually far harder than continuous ones. Except here it isn't trouble at all. This particular constraint structure has a rare property called total unimodularity. Relax the binary condition to simply non-negative, solve the easier continuous problem, and the answer comes back as 1s and 0s anyway. That is the deep reason a simple hand method can crack this problem exactly. The hard part was never really there. If this table feels familiar, it should. It is a transportation problem in disguise. Every worker supplies exactly 1 unit of work. Every job demands exactly 1 unit. Same tableau, same shipping costs, with every supply and every demand pinned to 1. So why not just reuse the transportation method? Because of a counting mismatch. A basic solution there needs m plus n minus 1 occupied cells, which is 5. But a genuine assignment only ever uses 3. The gap has to be plugged with 2 artificial near-zero entries in every single iteration. That is heavy degeneracy, and it makes the general method clumsy here. When a problem is this special, it deserves a method built for its shape. Here is the whole table again, and beside it every single one of the 6 possible assignments, with its true total cost. 3 of them tie for the lead at 12. Remember those, because we are about to change the numbers and watch what survives. Take the top row and subtract 2 from every entry in it. Every assignment uses exactly 1 number from that row. Exactly 1. So every single total drops by exactly 2. The whole league table slid down by the same amount. The gaps between them never moved. The same 3 assignments are still in front. And the same argument works for a column. This is the license we needed. Shift rows and columns however we like, and the identity of the winner is untouched. Which suggests a strategy. Use those free shifts to push zeros into the table. Because if you can build a complete assignment out of zeros, its cost is 0, and no cost can ever go below 0. That assignment is unbeatable. Here is the entire algorithm, and it really is this short. First, sweep each row, subtract its smallest entry, so every row picks up a 0. Then do the same down each column. Now the clever test. Try to strike out every 0 in the table using as few straight lines as you can, each line covering a whole row or a whole column. If you needed fewer lines than there are rows, the zeros are too bunched up to give everyone a job. So you nudge the table and try again. And the moment the number of lines matches the number of rows, you are done. A complete assignment of zeros is sitting there, waiting to be read. Let's run it on real numbers. Back to our 3 by 3. The cheapest pairing is hiding in here somewhere, and we are going to squeeze it out. Row by row, find the smallest entry. 2 in the first row, 3 in the second, 1 in the third. Subtract that minimum from its whole row. Every row now owns at least 1 0, and by the rule we just proved, the best assignment has not moved an inch. But look where those zeros landed. All 3 sit in the same column. Only one worker can take that job, so this is not yet a usable answer. So repeat the trick down the columns. The column minima are 1, 0 and 4. The middle column already has a 0, so it stays exactly as it is. Subtract, and the picture opens up. Zeros now appear in fresh places, spread across rows and columns. 5 zeros on the board. The question is whether we can pick 3 of them, 1 per row and 1 per column. That is exactly what the line test answers. This is where we left the table. Now cover every 0 using as few lines as possible, each one running the full length of a row or a column. 1 line down the middle column, 1 line across the second row, and every 0 is struck out. 2 lines were enough. And that is bad news dressed as good news. 2 lines covering all the zeros means the zeros are crowded into 2 lines. You cannot pull 3 independent ones out of them. So we nudge. Look only at the cells no line touches, and find the smallest value there. It is 1. Call it theta. 3 moves happen at once. Subtract theta from every uncovered cell. Add theta to any cell sitting under 2 lines at the same time. And anything covered by exactly 1 line stays put. Do it, and a brand new 0 appears in the uncovered region, which is precisely the region that was starving for 1. Cover the zeros again, and no pair of lines can do the job anymore. You need 3. The count has caught up with the number of rows, and that is the signal to stop. Here is the table the algorithm finally handed us. Now we just have to read it. Why does the line count decide anything? Because of a theorem by Koenig. The fewest lines needed to cover all the zeros is always equal to the largest number of zeros you can pick with no to sharing a row or a column. 3 lines therefore guarantees 3 independent zeros, 1 for every worker, 1 for every job. The test is not a rule of thumb. It is a proof. Pick them. Worker 1 takes job 2, worker 2 takes job 3, worker 3 takes job 1. Then go back to the original costs and add them up. 2 plus 7 plus 3. 12. Against the 13 we started with, and it is provably the best of all 6. One warning. Sometimes several zeros compete and you have a choice. Here 3 different assignments all cost 12. Any complete set of zeros you can build is equally optimal. Pick one and move on. Real problems rarely arrive as a neat square of costs. 3 small repairs fix almost everything, and each one happens before you start reducing, never in the middle. First, unbalanced problems. 3 machines, but only 2 jobs means the table isn't square, and the method needs a square. So invent a dummy job that costs nothing to do. Whichever machine ends up assigned to it is the machine that sits idle. The zeros cost you nothing, so the real answer is unaffected. Second, maximization. Sometimes the table holds profits, and you want the most, not the least. Find the biggest number in the table, 9, and subtract every entry from it. Now big profits have become small numbers, and minimizing this new table maximizes the original one. Run the method on the converted table, and it points to seller 1 on account 2 and seller 2 on account 1. Back in the original profits, that is 9 plus 8, 17, the most you can make. Third, forbidden pairings. Suppose worker 2 simply cannot do job 1, wrong skill, wrong license, wrong shift. Don't remove the cell. Price it out of the market. Put a huge cost M in there, and since we are minimizing, the method will avoid it on its own without any special handling. One more, bigger and faster. 4 technicians, 4 repair jobs, 16 costs, and 24 possible assignments to beat. Row minima first, 20, 15, 17, 23. Subtract them across. Column minima next, 2 of them are already 0, so only 2 columns actually change. Cover the zeros. 2 rows and 1 column do it, 3 lines for a 4-row table. Not finished. The smallest uncovered value is 1. Subtract it from everything uncovered, add it back at the crossings, and look again. Now it takes 4 lines. 1 pass through the loop was all it needed. Read off the independent zeros, price them with the original costs, and the cheapest schedule comes to 78. 24 possibilities, and we never listed a single one. Let's put the whole thing back together. 1 agent per task, and 1 task per agent. A binary program whose structure hands you whole numbers for free. The license to shift any row or column without changing the winner. A covering test that tells you, exactly and honestly, when to stop. And 3 small repairs for the messy cases the real world hands you. If any part of this is going to bite you in an exam, it is the adjustment. Subtract where nothing is covered, add where 2 lines cross, leave everything else exactly as it is. Transportation and assignment were both really networks in disguise. Next time we drop the disguise and work with the network itself, shortest paths, maximum flow, and the cheapest way to connect everything together. See you there.